Well, hello everybody. It is your Cat Daddy Jackson Galaxy. How are we? Rawr. Today we are going into the world of our Cat Mojo tiers. That's you, by the way, to answer another question, this time from Igu and Justin. And hey, by the way, if you are a Cat Mojo tier with a question, it's very simple. You just go to this little link right down there and you upload something where first you say, well, this is the problem. And then you say, Jackson, what can you do? And then you show me your, you know what? Igu, Justin, Ollie, show us what you got.
Hi Jackson, I'm Igu and this is Justin. This is our cat Ollie, who has some really strange behavior that we're concerned about.
He has an obsession with human food, so every time that we have to cook, we have to put him away in a room, otherwise he'll go after our food.
Whether we're preparing food, having dinner, or just putting the groceries away, we have to lock up Ollie in his room, otherwise he'll get into our food. And if he does get a hold of our food, then he will actually become very aggressive and it's very difficult to get the food out of his mouth. Hey, Ollie.
All right, and there you have it. Ollie likes his 17-grain bread, doesn't he? Along with apparently everything else that Igu and Justin bring into his sphere. Whatever it is, whatever winds up in that sphere, Ollie's like, I'll take that. That belongs to me. Anyhow, as you can tell by that imitation, I've seen this just a few times before. But before I get to that, because, you know, I don't want to just be like Jackson, the guy who's been around cats forever and has seen a thing or two, but I've actually read a thing or two as well. Can you believe it? Yes, I have. As a matter of fact, in the Journal of Veterinary Behavior, this is actually a thing. Can you believe it? It's actually a thing. And it's called Psychogenic Abnormal Feeding Behavior.
Abnormal.
I'm telling you, it exists. I mean, it doesn't say much. Basically, what psychogenic means is that there is no explanation for it. It's a physical manifestation, which is I seem so hungry that I have to eat the world, but it's not based in any kind of a physical cause. Science gave us a name, but honestly, it doesn't tell us much else. Case in point, Igu and Justin, I don't have Ollie's full story, so it's really hard for me to gauge what could be causing this, but I will do my best in terms of theorizing what it could be. First of all, now I've seen this behavior a lot before, both with food, but with something else as well, and that's with play. Maybe some of you guys have seen it before, where your cat grabs that wand toy, grabs that little feather or mouse or whatever, and just starts doing that like growly talky thing, like, oh man, this is mine, this belongs to me, and I am happy right now, so don't mess it up for me, human. I've seen it start very early on, where the kitten will grab that toy and then start looking for his or her safe place. Where am I going to take my kill right now? Oh, over there. And then I'll just sort of run along with them because I want to encourage that behavior actually when it comes to hunting. Because getting your cat mojo on when you're a little kitten, all good by the cat daddy. But of course there's limits to all of that. And you can encourage it with play, but you don't want to encourage it all the way around. Now that's the thing here. Let's just knock off a few things. I've seen that more often than not in kittens who were either found as singletons, meaning that they didn't have their mom or siblings around them, and maybe they were kind of at a young age, and then they came to live with foster parents or adopters or whatever. And then there's the other sort of angle of that, which is when they come to you really young, we call them bottle babies, where we actually have to nurse them because they're so young and they don't have their mom around them. The point is, they don't have their mom and or their siblings to mirror behavior from. So what is appropriate when you are sharing with, 6 or 7 brothers and sisters and your mom? If you don't learn that behavior between what we call the sensitive phase of development, which is between approximately 2 and 9 weeks, kind of hard to catch up after that. You've lost out on a seriously important part of your social life, which is having to share with others. Because let me tell you something, if you pull that, this is mine with your little brother or sister, they're gonna look at you and give you a slap upside the head. Mom will probably do the same thing. She'll push you off, just to make sure that you're not upsetting the kitten apple cart, as it were. And the same thing goes for bottle babies, because really at that point, all of their learning comes from humans. Everything about growing up cat comes from humans, and if the humans have other cats. This all said, that's sort of the 8-ball that possibly Ollie had found himself behind if he was either of those two things that I mentioned. That's one thing. And so that's how this could have arisen originally. And one more thing that Ollie could have experienced while he was out in the world before he came to you, which was having to compete for a food source. He could have been out there, whether it was with his siblings or not, that food became something he had to sort of fight for on a daily basis. So he brought that to the table, so to speak. That's what I did. And then there's one more variable that could or couldn't have happened. And I'm not pointing a finger, but at some point it could have been a cute thing when he was little. If you had him when he was little and you maybe sort of didn't mean to encourage it, but you kind of did because it was cute. And then it just kept working for him because every time he would do it, he'd actually score some food and you guys would laugh about it. Then it got out of hand. And there's yet another variable as well. It could be if Ollie is doing this with other things that are not just food. If he's doing it with the plastic bags, if he's doing it with little furniture pieces or any kind of pieces of plastic, that's a sign that he may have something called pica. And pica has gone hand in hand at times with psychogenic abnormal feeding behavior. But that is when it gets really serious. Pica is defined as the ingestion of non-edible materials. And usually with cats, that can graduate. It can start with wool. You know, when kittens do it, we call them wool suckers. And then it gets onto other fabrics, and then it goes to plastics, and then it can transfer to food. And there's something else, you guys. There's something else. It could also have something to do with the fact that you might or might not have other cats in the house. And he could have been pushed aside and had to fight for food among the other cats in the house. He felt crowded, and then he feels a sense of competition, and then he just has to go for it some other way. You see all of these things that could or could not have been the truth with Ollie? Hopefully, you guys, there's something in there that makes you go, oh, maybe it was that. Maybe. So let's just take all of this into consideration. Now go, well, what in the hell are we going to do about this, right? Because it does seem kind of inconvenient that you guys have to put up with this. Well, let me give you guys a few suggestions on where to go so that you can actually eat dinner in peace. Okay, so the first thing is that you guys say that you basically have to put him away when you're unloading groceries or the like. It's okay to say no. It's okay to say we're going to put him in another room while we unload the groceries. Or when we eat dinner, we just don't want to give him that chance to fail. But you know how I work, right? For every no, you want to have a yes. So what is that yes? My big one for you guys, the lowest hanging fruit, which I hope he doesn't eat that too, are puzzle toys. Puzzle toys are your friend because if you find the right toy, the one that he can't, knock over real easily and all of a sudden food just falls over and he just eats it now, he's like, what else you got? He's got to work at it. He's got to work at it. And I've seen some really great puzzle toys. And if you go to this website right here, friends of mine put this together and I just think it's fantastic. And it really does give you a feel for what's out there. They grade it from easy to expert and every stop in between. Food puzzle toys are just the bomb when it comes not just to a cat like Ollie, but all cats, because this way we don't just dish out treats to them. Hey, you are the cutest cat in the world. Here, take something. Or here, just, whatever you want. It's a buffet around here. I hate that. I hate not having food be something that our cats have to sort of work for just a little bit. And puzzle toys are the best way around that. So let's just say that you were able to say, you know what, we don't want you in here right now. Here, we're going to put you into the bedroom with this. It's food in a puzzle. It smells amazing. What's inside it? Let me get to it. And then you're doing your own thing. And if Ollie has just that one thing, I know he loves everything. I know that if you threw a big pizza on the table, he would just run away with the pizza. But maybe there's some kind of an appropriate meat-based food that you can put in that puzzle toy that he's like, wait a minute, stop the presses. Bread over here? What is in here? Jackpot is what is in here, and I'm going for this instead. Maybe it can happen in the same room. Maybe you don't have to be so aggressive with your no, because what is in that puzzle toy is that attractive to him. The second thing is how you're feeding him. We do know that cats out in the wild, the way the cat psyche works, the cat mojo psyche works, is a constant hunting cycle. There are small meals that get eaten as the day goes on. Sometimes it's bigger, sometimes it's smaller. Make sure, Ego and Justin, that you're feeding many meals throughout the day. Up to 5 small meals in a 24-hour period is just absolutely fine. They don't have to be big ones. They can be smaller meals throughout the day in a predictable way. When you stretch out those meals during the day, you make them predictable, and then you guys sync up those meals that he's eating during the day with your meals, at least your big meals, right? So that he's always got something that's his, that's waiting for him over here while you guys do your thing over here. One other thing I will tell you guys, I have another video about right up around there. That's about spreading out feeding stations if you have multiple cats. We have fallen into this strange habit of feeding cats very close to one another, and cats definitely need personal bubbles when it comes to eating. Remember how they are when they hunt. They will go and they will take that food and it's theirs and they're going to guard it. And think about it, for an animal that is just such an ingrained hunter going back tens of thousands of years, and you're going to squeeze them together with 2, 3, 4 other cats and have their bowls side by side like that, it's not a natural vibe for that cat. They will want a little bit of space. And for a cat like Ollie, think about who he is. He is a cat who's just a little insecure about food. And yes, you could say driven. Calling Ollie driven about food is just a little dismissive to me. It's too easy. I would call it insecure. He's insecure about his food and he wants to make sure he gets there first. And then when you try to take it away from him, it's, game on, Ollie style. So we just want to avoid that from happening. If that means separation, so be it. I'd love to try to redirect him onto something else. And that's where these puzzle toys come in. One last thing I'll tell you guys when it comes to trying to maybe sort of dampen this instinct that he has to just go berserk on food is not just puzzle toys. Interactive play on a daily basis really just helps to take all energy and just bring it down. Nothing like taking your cat through the hunt, catch, kill, eat on a daily basis with an interactive toy to just let him get it out of his system a little bit. Something is just building up in him and that temperature is just getting higher and higher and higher, and then he sees that piece of bread and it's just like, oh, that's mine. So why not take him through it every day? And I really am a big fan of doing it before meals, because that way he gets that natural mojo-fying oomph of hunting something, catching it, killing it, and then we feed him a meal. And a meal, of course, that is dominantly meat. 90% nothing but meat. And that should really help him get more into his natural mojo. So there you have it, you guys. That's just some places to start. First of all, every day we want to make sure that we're feeding meals, ideally 4 or 5 meals, small ones stretched out during the day, making sure that a couple of those meals come into contact with your meal time, right? So that he has something over here, you have something over here. Also, puzzle toys, ba-bang. Puzzle toys are the best thing in the whole wide world, and that maybe makes it so that he can be in the same room while you unload the groceries or cook dinner. If not, it's okay to separate out. He goes into his room, but he goes into his room with something fun happening at the exact same time that you're unloading the groceries. That's okay too. And making sure that if you have multiple cats, that you spread those bowls out all over the place. Don't give the Ollie eating frenzy machine gasoline, which is getting a sense of food competition going with other beings in the house. Now, these are all ways to just sort of tamp it down, to bring down that temperature just a little bit in a cat that's just driven, ramped up about his food source. My goal would be that everybody could do this in one big kumbaya room, but if that's not the case, just make sure that his life is full of these pleasant diversions. But at the end of the day, whatever started this behavior, whether it's nature or nurture or any stop in between, as pica most of the time is, there's a big question mark around it, it's okay. We can divert the aggression onto a toy on a daily basis and make sure that he's got a meal after that toy because now he knows what he's fighting for. Then he's got a puzzle toy. He knows what he's fighting for. He's using his little hunter brain and getting something at the end of it. And then we just got to make sure that there's not pieces of bread or pizzas or something else around him to set him up for failure. That's the consistent part of this that I think will really work for you guys. Hopefully that helped. I know that there was a lot of variables and some science and some anecdote, but in between there, I bet you there was something that's going to work for you guys and Ollie in the long run. All right, you guys, that's it for this week. Like I said, keep those questions coming. I love answering them. Until next time, you guys, light and love and mojo to you and your hungry cats. How? Meow.